sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers. Go.
Check. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Woo. Looking at those 404s pound the bass drum. Boom. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. What up, Laura? We live, raw, uncut, NFL Cup. What do you think about that? You don't think about that. You just think. You don't do. Just do, don't think. Don't think, you just do. You got it? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We're live, baby. And now, Mike's Thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, the NIL deals are broken in college football. College football is officially broken. Let's just be honest. Because when you go to a high school and you want to transfer, you got to sit out a semester before you're eligible to transfer into said school to play athletics. If you are in the NFL, you have some type of contract, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. You are in some type of binding contract. However, on the college landscape, back in the day, if you were to transfer from said school, you would have to sit out almost a full year unless some hardship happens, right? A hardship, death of the family, sickness, whatever, coaches leave, that type of thing. Now in college football, if you aren't playing, let's say you're with Alabama, you are the backup. You just aren't playing. You're wasting eligibility. You're doing this, you're doing that. You can be like, hey, I'm out of here, deuces, and you can go over to Kentucky and play that next year. If Ohio State's only paying you $50,000 a season to play football, but then Oregon's ready to pay you $80,000 a year to play football, you can be like, deuces, I'm out to make more money over here. Guys, college football is broken. It is broken. They need some type of contract. They need some type of binding contract saying, hey, you're here for 2 years. You're here for all 4 years. And if you don't play X amount of plays, X amount of minutes, whatever, then you can go, right? Guys, I am all for college athletes being paid. I am all for people getting money off of their name, image, and likeness. I am all for it, right? But once NIL came into college football, it has become a business. And at the business, you have contracts, you have lawyers, you have this, and that, right? Right now, it is free game in college football. Right now, it is just a wild, wild west out there, and they need to fix it right now. It is not going to be the NCAA that is going to fix it because they are getting a lot of Benjamins out of this whole deal, right? It is going to take some type of new NCAA, whether it's the Big 12 joining with the SEC or the SEC joining with the Big 10. Some of these major conferences are going to have to join together and make basically the NFL what it comes down to. Because right now, you have kids jumping ship left and right, and it is just ridiculous. It is just ridiculous. If you go to any NCAA page right now, there's probably hundreds of transfers that just transferred right now for bigger NIL deals because they weren't playing enough, because of this, and this. I get it. Money is money. Playing time is playing time. But at the end of the day, you have to have some type of contract. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw. Steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off. Get it hype, this man, our sport talk. Yeah. From the quarterback to the lineman, everybody bringing heat. You don't really want to try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it.
This is
Man Hour.
What?
Sport Talk. Man Hour.
Okay.
Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour.
What?
Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception?
Let's go. What is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhuister here with the Man Hour. Sure to manhourradio.com and manhour.co. Check out the shopping page, guys. Check out the watch tab. Check out the listen tab as well. But most importantly, check out the explore tab. You become a pigskin pundit over there, like my man John, like my man Jim, like my girl Laura. Become a pigskin pundit. Support the show. But if you guys do not want to become a pigskin pundit, the best way to support the show right now is to hit that like button. Hit that like button and share this with a couple friends as well, because sharing is caring at the end of the day. Guys, this is a live interactive show, so I see all your comments and we do address them as we come in. But we do got a great show for you guys live today. It is Friday edition. And I restarted my computer. But we are going to be talking about the Steelers taking on the Ravens. Who needs that game more? Who really needs to win? Are the Pittsburgh Steelers a legit threat in the AFC? Are they a legit threat? Can the Ravens repeat in going into the AFC Championship game? And then, of course, we got about 45 minutes like in the show later, we got Factor Crap. We got the Denver Broncos. We're going to talk about this. The biggest Fugazi team out there, hands down, or is it Factor Crap at the Denver Broncos? And then the New York Jets, they're starting to lose players left and right. Garrett Wilson wants out. Should the Jets trade him? Factor Crap about that. Factor Crap. And Myles Garrett, my man, wants out too. He says, but should the Browns let him go? Factor Crap, we'll talk about that. And then, of course, we got to talk about the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell has said he's good to go, and he expects to be started against the Jaguars this weekend. So should they? Should they actually go out there and start Aiden O'Connell this weekend? So we'll talk about that here in a little bit of Factor, a little bit of crack, guys. My voice is crackling today because I am down with the sickness, just like the rest of the Buckheister household. But it is what it is. Let's power through it, guys. But if we get too carried away, before we get too carried away, we got to welcome some people in the chat. We got to welcome my man Derek in the chat. He says, what's good? He's just chilling tonight. He's just chilling on a nice Friday night, enjoying some live, raw, uncut NFL talk. We got my girl Laura in the chat today as well. She says, good evening. Laura, your Fugazi hoodie should be there hopefully next week. Hopefully Christmas morning is there. Bada bing, bada boom. Laura got a Fugazi hoodie, guys. So if you guys want to be like Laura, head over to manhour.co. Click on the shop tab, and bada boom, the Fugazi hoodie is right there. And then Jim's like, Jesus, what a hat. Hey, man, you got to get in the spirit, dog. You got to get in the spirit. Christmas is 4 days away now. Actually, what, you got Saturday, Sunday, Monday? I guess you can still count 5 days, whatever. But it is nearly Saturday. You got like 3 shopping days left. So, Jim, me and you are men out there. Get out there and get some shopping done, man. Get out there and get some shopping done. Laura says, what up, Buck? Nothing. Living the dream, trying to get over this sickness. I've been listening to too much Disturbed, and I'm down with that sickness. And Jim says, imagine that. You add money and distort and convolute something good into something evil and corrupt. I mean, honestly, Jim, it was bound to happen, right? I mean, honestly, back when I played, it was corrupt anyways, right? Like you had agents meeting, or not agents, but they're people that they hung out with, what they associate with, just like with meeting you at bars and saying, hey, we can give you a little bit of this if you do this for us, whatever. I mean, it has always been evil and corrupt, but now it is out in the open. Now you don't randomly have $1,000 slid under your door, right? Now you don't randomly have people meeting you at your car after a game with like a brand new suit or anything just like that, right? Now it's out in the open. Now it's clear as day, right? It's just it needs to be regulated, right? It needs to be regulated to an extent, meaning the NIL deals, to where these young kids are not being taken advantage of. Actually, here in Kentucky, right? It actually was Vanderbilt. So Nashville, Tennessee, their quarterback just won a court battle versus the NCAA, saying that his JUCO college years do not count towards his eligibility in the NCAA, because technically the national JUCO, which is separate from the NCAA, should not count. So, guys, now JUCO colleges don't. If you go the JUCO route, those years that you're playing in JUCO do not count towards your eligibility now. So now we're going to see 25, 26, 27-year-old seniors getting all this NIL money, killing people, and it is very, very corrupted and very just, I guess, evil, right? It's just stupid. We got my man John Pebbles in the chat as well. It says, "What up, y'all? What up? What up?" John, hope you're having a grand old Friday, man. Thank you for being a pigskin pundit and all the support that you do. David Nazar's a top fan here, says, "My Chargers are badass." Slow it down, baby. Slow it down, baby. The Chargers beat the Broncos. Slow it down, but we will talk about that. We will talk about that. And John says the Ravens-Pittsburgh game is a trap game for Pittsburgh. It's not a trap game. I can tell you that right off the bat. It is not a trap game. And Laura says the Ravens need it, but the Steelers will win it. Well, guys, let's go ahead and talk about that. Let's go ahead and talk about this Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers game here. But before, guys, I want you guys to click on the subscribe button below. If you're on Facebook.com or at YouTube.com, click on the subscribe button below and become a pigskin pundit. Be like Laura, be like John, be like Jim, Casey, John, Drew, and guys, and become a pigskin pundit. It helps to show more than you will ever know. But with that being said, let's get into some Steelers versus Baltimore Ravens talk here. Let's get on with it. So as you guys know, this is a very, very big game, honestly, for both teams. So they go to battle. They go to battle Saturday afternoon, 4:30 here on the East Coast for round number 2. The Steelers did win the first round, and the Steelers currently are sitting at 10-4 on the season. The Baltimore Ravens guys are sitting at 9-5 on the season. If the Steelers win, they can lock up the AFC North. If the Ravens win, the NFC North title is still within reach, right? It is still within reach. So we got to ask this question, guys. When you look at the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Saturday afternoon, who needs this win more? Who needs to go out and show us to the world that, hey, we can compete with these guys. We can beat these guys. Who needs it more? Now, when we look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, guys, they have probably the tougher of the two remaining schedules. They play the Chiefs on Christmas Day, and then they play the Cincinnati Bengals. A Bengals team that still has fight left in them for the playoffs. If the Bengals win out and the Broncos lose out, the Bengals are in the playoffs. So they are playing for the playoffs lives. It's going to be a very, very tough game for the Pittsburgh Steelers on that final, I think, January 5th game. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense is not very good, right? They're ranked 18th overall in offense, 25th in pass offense, and 10th in rush offense. Now, their defense is a little bit better, right? Their defense, I have been banking on their defense all season long. But as of late, right, TJ Watt, he went down a game or two ago with that ankle injury. We saw Hightower go down earlier this season with that ankle injury as well. But the Pittsburgh Steelers do have the 8th ranked defense in the NFL. They also have the 22 ranked passing defense in the NFL, but the bright point of the defense is the run stopping ability. They're 4th in defense, 4th rush defense, right? And then a lot of the measuring stick games with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the other teams that we will be talking about tonight is how do they stack up against playoff bound teams, right? Teams that are potentially going to go into the playoffs. And the Pittsburgh Steelers guys are 4-0 versus playoff teams so far this season. They have beaten the Broncos, Chargers, Ravens, and then the Washington Commanders, when the Commanders were at their peak, right? Not this struggling, fumbling team that we're seeing right now. Now, on the other hand, the Baltimore Ravens, they do have the easier of the two remaining schedules. They do play the Texans, not a walk in the park, but a very, very beatable team. And then they play the Cleveland Browns that are basically buying for that number 1 overall pick to end the season here. Like I said, it is not as tough as the Steelers, but it is still tough, right? The Texans are still a playoff-bound team, and the Browns are still the Browns, and they are a divisional opponent. The Browns that which beat the Baltimore Ravens earlier this season. Now, one of the biggest weaknesses for the Baltimore Ravens so far this season has been their defense, right? Their defense has been terrible. Their defense has yet to hold a team to under 10 points so far this season. They have held teams to 10 points twice this season, the Broncos and the Bills, which are both playoff teams, but they have yet to hold a team to single digits. On the other hand, their offense, they do have the best offense in the NFL. They have the third-ranked passing offense, the second-ranked rushing offense. Their defense is just flat out terrible. Per Baltimore standards, this defense is just terrible. 17th ranked defense, 31st ranked passing defense, but they do have the best rushing defense in the NFL. On the other hand, they are 5-3 so far this season versus playoff teams. So when we look at this game, guys, Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens, who needs it more? I've given you a little bit of backstory. I've given you a little bit of this. I've given you a little bit of that. But guys, answer in the comments below. In the comments below, who do you guys think needs this win more, the Steelers or the Ravens? Now, when you look at this game, the Steelers do have the playoffs locked up. Win, lose, draw, the next three, it doesn't matter. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in the playoffs. The Ravens, on the other hand, do have a 99% chance of making the playoffs. It is not locked in yet, but they do that. They have a 99% chance. Even if they lose, they're still sitting at 98% chance to make the playoffs. So more or less, unless hell freezes over twice on Sunday, the Baltimore Ravens are in the playoff as well. On the other hand, Lamar Jackson is just 1-4 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me repeat that for the people that are in the back. All you Lamar Jackson haters, or lovers, I should say. Lamar Jackson just 1-4 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Ravens, however, do lead the league in penalties by far. The most penalized team in the NFL. The Steelers lead the NFL with 30 takeaways. The Steelers would love to host a home playoff game because so far this season, 4 of their losses, 3 of them came on the road. Now, who do I think need this game more? I think the Baltimore Ravens need this game more. They need to lock up their playoffs this week and figure out their wide receiver issues. The Ravens have 2 weeks to figure out what they're going to do with their wide receiver issues. Yes, I understand they still have the third-ranked passing offense in the NFL, but losing Deontay Johnson, they just cut him, which is not a huge loss, but it still adds depth because Nelson Aguilar is out with the concussion and Rashad Bateman is out with the ankle injury. So they're very, very thin at that wide receiver issue. And I know all you Baltimore Ravens fans always have excuses for Lamar Jackson. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that when they do lose. So who do I think needs to win this game more? I think it is the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Baltimore Ravens need to come out there and they need to flex on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need to dominate a good team. The Ravens have yet to really dominate a good team yet this season. They have played some good teams. They have played some good games, but they have dominate a good team. So that I expect the Ravens to win this game, or I should say the Ravens. I think this is a must-win for them. Sorry about that, guys. Laura says sick here too. Yeah, my voice is going quickly, Laura. It is going quick in hell in a handbaskets or whatever it is, right? Jim Powell says the Ravens need it. The Ravens need it more. Jim also says Pittsburgh has their 21st winning season in a row, so they are done now. David said, if Watt is hurt, the Ravens win. Watt is hurt, but he is expected to play this week. Christmas Day might be a different story, but he is expected to play week 16. So the last I knew, John is saying Baltimore needs it more. I agree with you, right? I agree with you on that, John. Josh Olson says the Ravens win at 23-18. So Josh is also saying that the Ravens need it more, right? Everybody's saying that the Steelers, they already got the playoffs locked up. They already know their faith, right? It's either 3rd seed or 5th seed. So the Ravens need it more. Jalen Nelson's in the chat. What's up, Jalen? He says, yes, they do. Go Baltimore. Go Baltimore, go Baltimore, go Baltimore. Derek says the Pittsburgh needs it more. Baltimore should be focused on winning a playoff game. And Derek, you are correct. Lamar Jackson normally shits the bed in the playoffs. However, last year he did make it to the AFC Championship game. He did win that one game and got there. So maybe the monkey is off his back. Maybe he can finally start winning in the month of January, but to be determined. Laura says definitely the Raiders. Sorry, the Ravens. Definitely the Ravens. The Ravens need it more. Everybody's saying the Ravens, right? Everybody's saying the Ravens. Jalen says, will the Baltimore Ravens lose against the Steelers because of Justin Tucker? Listen, the Pittsburgh Steelers have yet to find the end zone on a consistent basis week after week after week, right? The Steelers field goal kicker wins them a lot of games. Can't think of his name right now, but he has won them a lot of games. However, Justin Tucker has lost the Baltimore Ravens three games. Hell, he could have lost all four, honestly, just like the last four. Maybe the bye week and the success that he had against the Giants, maybe that has got Justin Tucker out of his funk, right? But with that being said, I do not think it is going to be a field goal type of game. Now, a field goal that he missed maybe in the second quarter could change some play calling in the third and fourth quarter, like you go for it on 4th and 1 from like their 40 instead of kicking a 50-yarder, that type of situation. But I don't think Justin Tucker will cost them the game. This game, kickers are all mind cases, right? All kickers have talent. All kickers can go out there and kick, pop can off of the top of a field goal post 10 out of 10 times. It's all in the head, right? It is all a mental game at this point. So Jalen, I do not think Justin Tucker will cost him the game, unfortunately. Matt Castles in the chat says, what do you think about Josh Allen? I think he is the MVP, Matt. I think he is a MVP quarterback this season. John says, man juice to the rescue. I've been using emergency and liquid IV for the last 2 weeks, or for the last 2 days, I should say. And it's just been crazy. You might want to put some more squeak in that voice. It is going quick, guys. It is going quick. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. It is going quick. Jim Powell says you need some big Jim's 2-ball tonic. Kurz ails you. Alrighty. We'll see. Andrew's Paradise says, go Pack go. Division games are always tough. Home team wins whoever it is. That's not true, Andrew. That's not true, because if I remember correctly, the Browns beat the Steelers. Was it? No, that was at Cleveland. So I guess maybe you're right for the AFC North so far this season. The home team has been successful so far this season, unless you're the Bengals. But yeah, maybe. But go Pack, go! I got a cheesehead right there, buddy. Got a little cheesehead. Oh, he says I meant in the Ravens-Steelers game. Yeah. So the Steelers. So it's the Ravens, right? So the Steelers are playing at the Ravens this week. Jalen says Baltimore shooting lost against the Cleveland Browns. Not for sure what you mean by that, Jalen, but they did lose to the Browns. John says warm saltwater gargle. John, I know you like warm salty stuff in your mouth. You can gargle that warm salty stuff all you want. But yeah, I have actually already done that. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, I know. All right, guys. So we talked about who needs it more, who really needs to get down and get some wins in there. But let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Are they a dangerous team in the playoffs? Can the Pittsburgh Steelers win a playoff game or two this season in the AFC playoff picture? Now, if you guys have been following the Man Hour for a while now, you know that my Super Bowl pick has been the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. However, I may want to maybe kind of recant that a little bit. Maybe, just maybe, I'm not believing so much in the Pittsburgh Steelers anymore. But let's answer this question, guys. Are the Pittsburgh Steelers a dangerous team in the playoffs? When we talk about dangerous, we mean, can they win a wild card game? Can they compete in the divisional round? Can they make it to the AFC championship game? Are they a dangerous team in the playoffs? And the Pittsburgh Steelers contain two of the ingredients to win a championship. The two ingredients that you need to win a championship is to play good defense, which they have the 8th ranked overall defense, and they need to rush the ball, which they had the 10th ranked rushing offense. So they play good defense and they run the ball well. They have all the tools in place right now, guys, to make a deep playoff run. When you have the 8th ranked defense, yes, passing defense kind of sucks, 22nd in passing, but the AFC, all the home teams are going to be cold weather, windy teams, right? If you got to go to Buffalo, you're going to have to be dealing with that 40-mile-an-hour wind and snow. If you go to Kansas City, you're going to have to deal with that swirling wind. For whatever reason, Arrowhead Stadium has that swirling wind time after time after time. If you got to play in Pittsburgh, that swirling wind off of the three rivers there in Pittsburgh, always swirling, right? So passing is not going to be very, very big numbers, big yardage through some of these teams, right? And then the 10th ranked rushing defense. Sorry, the 4th ranked rushing defense. Man, my mind is all over the place. They can stop the run. So they're going to force you to pass. Guys, the simple fact of the matter is that the Steelers are a very, very dangerous playoff team. They are a dangerous playoff team. They have all the tools in place, the running game, the defense. They have a Super Bowl winning coach. They have a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And they got players that have never won a playoff game or let alone a Super Bowl, so they're hungry. They are hungry. So when you got an experienced Mike Tomlin, Russell Wilson, fueled with the hungry guys, Najee Harris, George Pickens, Justin Fields, TJ Watt, it is a perfect recipe for success in the postseason. It is a perfect recipe for success in the postseason. Guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to be a team that you want to play in the playoffs. They have had so much playoff disappointment the last 4, 5, 6 seasons, right? Hell, they haven't won a playoff game since was it 2012 or something like that? I don't remember exactly. But they have had a lot of playoff disappointment. You get a home playoff game versus potentially the LA Chargers? Yes. They're dangerous, guys. So what do you guys think? Are the Pittsburgh Steelers dangerous in the playoffs? Can they make a legit AFC championship run? I got to say yes. Laura says, if you can handle honey, that helps too. I use local honey for my cough and sore throat. I use local honey for my allergies all season. So yes, we do a lot of honey, a lot of honey and hot tea around here. Josh Olson says, only if Pickens comes back healthy and Watt is healthy. George Pickens is going to be out this game versus the Ravens yet again for some rest, right? TJ Watt will get his rest. So George Pickens and TJ Watt should be at least 90% going into the playoffs. Plus, Highsmith is back, right? Preston Smith's been getting a little playing time, getting his ears wet with that new defense. They're dangerous, right? They're dangerous. Jalen says Will Russell Wilson has been doing good with the Steelers. Will Russell Wilson has been doing good with the Steelers sometimes, but I don't think they might win, but I think the Chief will knock them out of the playoffs. So basically, Jalen's saying Russell Wilson has been playing good. Jalen's saying that Russell Wilson has been playing good so far this season. Will it translate over into the postseason? That is the real question. And I don't see any indication of why it wouldn't translate over, right? I don't see any indication of why Russell Wilson's play in the playoffs, all of a sudden, it's just going to drop off. Granted, they are only 4-0 versus playoff teams, right? They've only played 4 playoff teams. They got the Ravens this week, so that'd be 5, right? They've been battle tested, right? This last half of the season, they've been battle tested. I mean, it's not like he's just been going to drop off the face of the earth. I think Russell Wilson will be just fine. And honestly, Jalen, me being a Chiefs fan, I think the only team that could potentially beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs is the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they have been there. They have done that. No other quarterback, no other team in the AFC has won a Super Bowl but with their active roster besides Pittsburgh, right? Russell Wilson has won a Super Bowl. He's been there. He knows what it takes. give them wisdom, right? John says they can win a wild card, but that's about it. Damn, slow it down, baby. So you don't think the Steelers can beat the Bills or the Chiefs or the Ravens? That is tough. That's tough. Derek says, I don't know what I can get behind this team. And honestly, Derek, I kind of agree with you, right? I have, so what is it, about 6-7 weeks ago? This NFL season is flying by, but it seems like, I was kind of hesitant to jump on the hype train, right? I was a little hesitant to jump on the hype train of the Pittsburgh Steelers because of the simple fact that they're not really lighting up the scoreboard, right? The simple fact that Russell has not really had that both Russell Wilson MVP, that type of game stretch here, right? And it just, and I understand it, right? The offense is 18th in the NFL, 22nd in passing, 4th in rushing though. So it's just, this is a team that is tough to get behind because they play that old school mentality. Hard-nosed defense, run the ball, right? And it's just like, and I get it, and I understand, and definitely respect you because you being a Raiders fan, you guys are kind of the same way. You want to run the ball in a tough-nosed defense, and you're not having success over there, but they're having success over here. So it is kind of tough, right? Jim Powell says they are dangerous to the point of Watt and and to the semis, but all the way to the AFC, nope. Sell, crapolo. So Jim is saying they can win a wild card, but they're not going to win a divisional game. Andrew's Paradise over here on youtube.com/man-hour. Thank you for joining us today, man. He says the Steelers aren't potent enough on offense to win 3 playoff games. Pass rush and running game are important, but you need to be able to win multiple ways, beat all good teams. And I would agree with you on that to an extent, right? Because a lot of these quarterbacks that they're going to face in the playoffs cannot legitimately, they don't have strong enough arms to throw the ball in a Buffalo win. They don't have the arm strong enough to throw the ball in a Kansas City Cold, right? They don't have a arm strong enough to throw in the Pittsburgh Steelers, like field, right? There is a reason why a lot of these AFC teams want the home field advantage because they do have those strong arm quarterbacks, i.e. the Buffalo Bills. Because let's say you have Bo Nix come up to Buffalo and the wind is swirling at 30, 40 miles an hour, right? Josh Allen can throw the ball in that. He will put it on a dime. He can throw it in that all day long. Bo Nix simply cannot. He does not have the arm strength. He does not have that power. So they're going to rush the hell out of the ball that particular game. They're going to shut it down because the Buffalo Bills have one of the best rush defenses in the NFL. Justin Herbert does have a strong arm. Has he ever thrown in wind? No. Patrick Mahomes does have a strong arm. Has he thrown it in 40-mile-an-hour wind BF4? No. So rushing the ball is going to be very, very key in these playoffs, especially when the Buffalo Bills get the number 1 overall seed. It is going to happen. The Super Bowl is going to go through Buffalo, and you're going to have to battle with that crappy weather up there. It is what it is. You have to run the ball and play defense. John says, here's the question. Pittsburgh versus Chiefs. Who wins? We will talk about that on Tuesday, John. We will talk about that on Tuesday. John says, I will tell you one win in the big pursuit cat fight. Cat fight. Alpha Rob says they beat everyone except for the Buffalo Bills. So Alpha Rob saying the Pittsburgh Steelers are the second best team in the AFC. They can beat the Chiefs. They can beat the Ravens, Chargers, Buffalo Bills, Houston Texans, just not the Buffalo Bills. Slow it down, baby. Slow it down. You might be right. I think you might be right, though, like Alpha Rob. John says Wilson is merely average. Playoff shows leaders. And Russell Wilson is a leader. He has gone to the Super Bowl, man. He has gone to the Super Bowl. Derek says, if they win the Super Bowl, does Mike Tomlin step down a winner? There's been rumors that Mike Tomlin might get traded, right? There's been rumors that Mike Tomlin's been retiring for the last 3 or 4 years. And honestly, what other greater feeling than it is to win on top, right? But then on the other hand, you got to look at your roster. Like, hey, these guys are still pretty young. I'm not that old. We see Bill Belichick, 80 years old, coaching. We see Andy Reid, 72 years old, coaching, right? We see people coaching, just out there. So it all depends on how the playoffs go, right? But I can't answer that question. I don't know. Me personally, I would say no. I wouldn't. Why? I'm the greatest coach of all time. Why walk away? I'm just saying. But on the other hand, guys, the Baltimore Ravens, they made it to the AFC championship game last year, right? They made it to the AFC championship game for the first time in Lamar Jackson's career. So the question that we have for the Baltimore Ravens is, can the Ravens make it back to the AFC championship game? As you guys know, as of right now, they would be the 5th seed in the AFC playoff picture if it were to start today. They would have to go on the road to play the Houston Texans, then probably go on the road to play the Kansas City Chiefs, and then play, and if everything holds true, then they would have to play the Buffalo Bills as the 2nd seed going into the AFC championship game. But right now, the Baltimore Ravens are very, very thin at the wide receiver position as of right now. They just cut DeAndre Johnson. Nelson Aguilar is out with a concussion. Don't know when he's going to be back. Rashad Bateman is questionable with the ankle injury. Wide receiver core's gotten pretty thin pretty quickly, right? And like I just said, if the playoffs were to start today, they would be playing the Houston Texans in a rematch of last season in the divisional round. They can, and they will beat the Houston Texans. I don't think the Texans have anything for the Baltimore Ravens whatsoever, right? And in the divisional round, if they would play Kansas City, it would be at Kansas City, which is a tough place to play. Let's just be honest. It is a very, very tough place to go to Arrowhead and win games, especially in the postseason. But then let's just say they win that game. Then they would have to turn around and play the number 2 seed, the Buffalo Bills, at Buffalo. Last time Lamar Jackson went to Buffalo, he got knocked out before the game was even over. To be honest, guys, it is a very, very real shot that the Texans even move up to the 3rd seed, right? And the Steelers drop down to the 4th seed. And if that were the case, the Ravens' road even got that much harder. Then they got to play the Steelers, Chiefs, and then the Buffalo Bills. It's a very, very tough road no matter the way you look at it. As I think they can make the championship game. Lamar Jackson is a great talent, pretty good quarterback, but I do not trust them right now. Somebody over here on YouTube was bringing up Justin Tucker. Very, very real possibility that Justin Tucker could cost them a playoff game. And honestly, guys, I said it for the last 2 weeks. If Justin Tucker wasn't the Justin Tucker name attached to that player, he would have been cut 3 weeks ago. Playing Kansas City or the Buffalo Browns or the Buffalo Browns, the Buffalo Bills in the 2nd round is very, very tough. It is very, very tough. The Ravens might arguably have the hardest path to the AFC championship game ever. Let's just be honest. So can they make it to the championship game? Of course they can. They've done it. They have the talent. They have the team. The defense sucks, but the offense is high flying. Will they? No. I do not think they will make it to the AFC championship game. I don't think they get past the Chiefs. I don't think they get past the no matter who they play in the 2nd round. I don't think they get past the 2nd round, because if they jump up to a 3rd seed, if everything holds true, they would play the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round. If they stay where they're at, they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round. I just don't see that happening, right? I don't see that happening. Andrew with the super chat. Thanks, buddy. I definitely appreciate that. He says, good luck with your channel. Off topic, what do you think about the Lions limping into the playoffs? I almost feel bad for a division rival. Honestly, Andrew, it is what it is. Let's speak about the Detroit Lions. They've been running their mouths for the last 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks, right? Next man up, next man up, next man up. And now all of a sudden, they want to use injuries as an excuse. Andrew, I legit think that the Detroit Lions are last year's Philadelphia Eagles. They were 11-0, limped into the playoffs in their 1st round exit. I could very, 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 very see the Detroit Lions being a 3rd seed and getting beat by, I don't know, let's say who would be the 3rd seed? Would it be the Commanders? I don't even know what the NFC playoff picture is right now. Why am I drawing a blank? No, it'll be the Minnesota Vikings, right? So you had the Vikings, Packers, and then the Commanders. So yeah, it would be the Packers. Like it's a very, very real possibility, Andrew. So yeah. Jalen Nelson says, I think the Buffalo Bills are going to go to the Super Bowl. Buffalo Bills have the best opportunity to play its suits go to the Super Bowl. Jalen, they're hot, they are clicking, and they have a pretty favorable schedule. They play the Patriots twice and then the Jets to end the season. Very, very real chance they get that first overall seed. Very, very real chance that they play the Baltimore Ravens or the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first game. That's not an ideal matchup, but it is what it is. And they are a very, very hot team. Derek says all teams that should be in the playoffs about to be there. This is going to be a great playoffs. On the NFC side AFC side, I think we can pretty much write it in like stone that the Texans lose, the Broncos lose, the Chargers lose, and whoever, those three teams are going to lose. Like it is what it is. So call who is in the championship. I already said, John, it's going to be the Eagles and Steelers. That is who my Super Bowl is. Let's see here. Derek says, has a coach when they sued the Raiders for hotting it so what? He was a coach when they sued the Raiders for hotting too hard. I don't know what you're talking about that. Hitting too hard? I don't remember. John says, Tomlin's the greatest Pittsburgh coach? No, he's not. Chuck Noll, 4 Super Bowls. I'm saying that Mike Tomlin is the greatest coach of all time. John, I'm saying he's better than Andy Reid. He's better than Bill Belichick, right? When you don't have a losing season, that does something, buddy. That tells me that you're doing something right. And John Madden, I don't even know. Josh Olson says the Ravens could possibly get to the Super Bowl with Derrick Henry. Also, the Bills' defense always struggles against Derrick Henry. Josh, the real question is, are the Baltimore Ravens going to use Derrick Henry? Right? In the games that they lost so far this season, Derrick Henry has the most of 2 carries in the fourth quarter. I'm just saying. Don't forget about Derrick Henry. I understand saving him for the playoffs and all this other crap. Like, come on, shut up with that. Shut up with that. That is dumb. That is asinine. That is asinine. Like, stop being crazy. Motown grip, baby. Good Lord, get out of here. Get out of here with that. Oh boy. Let's move on, guys. A little bit of fact and a little bit of crap. All right, guys, so if you are new here, fact or crap is very, very simple. We've been scouring the old interwebs. We've seen what the people have been saying, and we're going to determine if stuff is fact, you agree with it, or it is a crap like, nah, Buck, you are crazy. They're crazy. We don't know what you're talking about, but let's talk about a little bit of fact mixed in with a little bit of crap. Let's start off with fact or crap, guys, with the fugazi-ness of the Denver Broncos. As you guys know, the Denver Broncos did lose Thursday Night Football to the LA Chargers, and they could not lock up their playoff bid last night. So, when you look at the Denver Broncos, guys, they have still yet to proven themselves that they can beat a good team so far this season. The only good team that they've beaten so far this season is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which honestly, that was kind of a fluke. The Blue Flu, Thursday night game, week 3, it was a perfect disaster for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So guys, fact or crap, are the Denver Broncos the biggest frauds in the AFC playoff picture? Now, we have the Fugazi hoodies out there, guys, over at manhourradio.com. And Mark D was in our group chat with me and Hoffy today, and he was very upset that his Denver Broncos could miss the playoffs, right? Because the Broncos missed their chance of not only beating a team with a winning record last night, but they missed their chance of locking up their playoff spot. Now, guys, the Denver Broncos have a very, very real chance of missing the playoffs. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. The Denver Broncos, guys, have a very, very real chance of missing the playoffs. If they lose out, meaning they lose the next 2 games that they play, and the Miami Dolphins win the next 3 games that they play, or the Colts or the Bengals. If any one of those teams win out, the Denver Broncos are out of the playoffs. They're out. Now, the Broncos do play the Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs in their next 2 games. Guys, very, very real chance that they lose the next 2 games. Very, very real chance that they potentially could miss the playoffs. And as I said, right, the Denver Broncos are 1-6 against winning teams so far this season. Their lone win coming to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in week 3. Their offense is not very good. 21st ranked offense. Their defense is pretty good, though. 9th ranked defense, but it has fallen the last few weeks. They've gone from top 5 down to 7 and now down to 9. And also, Bo Nix is starting to throw a lot of interceptions. 5 interceptions in the last 2 games. So, guys, the question is, fact or crap? Are the Denver Broncos the biggest frauds in the AFC playoff race? I have to say fact, guys. I have to say that the Denver Broncos are the biggest frauds in the AFC playoff race. On their 4-game winning streak, they beat the Falcons, not a playoff team. They beat the Raiders, not a playoff team. They beat the Browns, not a playoff team. They beat the Colts, not a playoff team. Hell, and if you want to play the what if aspects of those games, right? What if the Browns did not play Jameis Winston in that game? The Broncos probably lose that game. There's not those 5 interceptions where the hell it was. What if JT holds on to the ball into the end zone for the Colts? The Colts beat the Broncos in that game. Let's just be honest, guys. I understand that you guys are going to go back to the block field goal versus the Kansas City Chiefs. But I want you guys to understand that many of those experts out there, those film study guys, pointed out that their O-line is flawed on the Denver Broncos field goal thing, on the field goal protection. Very, very flawed. I saw it 2 games ago, and they started pointing it out. I was like, oh, yeah, I saw that. Like I said, their one good win so far this season was week number 3 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football. Week 3, after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played the Detroit Lions. Oh, by the way, do you guys remember the Blue Flu? Yeah, the Buccaneers played the Lions the week before, beat the Lions, and then come back on a Thursday. The Blue Flu is a real deal. Guys, it is a fact. The Denver Broncos are the biggest fugazis, the biggest frauds. The Broncos are just not very good, guys. They are not very good. So, guys, in the comments below, fact or crap, are the Denver Broncos the biggest frauds in the AFC playoff picture? John is saying, and I'm saying you have taken too much cold medicine. I have. I've been living off of NyQuil the last few days, John. I'm not going to lie. Andrew's Paradise says the greatest Steeler ever is Ed O'Neill. Not wrong. Not wrong. And Fugazi, I love it. Andrew, go to manhourradio.com and get yourself a Fugazi hoodie, man. Let's do it. But John's saying, slow it down, baby. It's crap. It's crap. And then JJJ262 says fart. I guess you're meaning crap. He's saying fart. I guess he's meaning crap. For the people that are saying crap, why do you guys not think that the Broncos are the biggest frauds in the AFC playoff race? Why not, right? Why not? Derek is saying fact, though. Derek, I agree with you. It is a fact, right? And Derek says, how many division games have they won? I think their only division game that they've won was the Raiders, right? They played the Chiefs week 18. They lost to the Chiefs earlier this season. They got swept by the Chargers, and they beat the Raiders, obviously. And they beat the that's the Chargers one. And did the Broncos? Yeah, the Broncos beat the Raiders twice. So that's their only 2 division wins is to the Raiders, right? They beat the Raiders 34-18 and then 29-19. So got swept by the Chargers, already lost to the Chiefs. Will probably get swept by the Chiefs. So there you go. John says, not going to lie, Denver has made a turnaround. They have made a turnaround, right? I think I had them about 7 wins so far this season. Like back in June and July when we predicted our games, or I predicted our games, right? I had them about a 6-7 win team. So they had definitely exceeded expectations. They have a winning season, right? They have exceeded expectations, but they have an easy-ass schedule. Let's just be honest. They have an easy-ass schedule. The Jets, the Raiders, the Saints, the Panthers, the Falcons, the Raiders, the Browns, the Colts, the Bengals. Easy. I mean, obviously, sure, hindsight's 2020, right? Hindsight's 2020, but they should be a 10, 11 win team easily. It's just what it is. Josh says, no, they are not frauds, but they are going to have to beat either the Bengals or the Chiefs, which they are capable of doing. So, Josh, they are capable of beating the Chiefs, right? They took the Chiefs down to the very last second, right? A blocked field goal. The Kansas City Chiefs won that game. And to be honest, if the Bengals expose their defense like I think they can, which I think they will, I don't think the Broncos can keep up in a shootout with the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's just be honest. Have the Bengals had a score underneath 30 points so far this season? I don't think so. I mean, granted, the Bengals are 6-8. They are playing for the playoff lives, but let's just look at the points that they scored the last 6 weeks here. 37 versus the Titans, 27 versus the Cowboys, which is a fluke game, right? Let's just be honest. 38 versus Steelers, 27 versus the Chargers, 40 versus the Ravens, 41 versus the Raiders. Like, they put up numbers. Yes, the Broncos have put up some numbers too, right? But I don't think they can do it consistently. Andrew's Paradise says, fact, they are the biggest frauds. And I agree with you, Andrew. I agree with you. And John says, it is crap because Kansas City are the biggest frauds. Just trying to poke that bear, aren't you there, bud? Just trying to poke that bear. Andrew says, Broncos are going in the right direction, but not anywhere in the playoffs. And honestly, Andrew, you are correct. The Broncos have shocked everybody, right? They had that $60 million dead cap hit on Russ's salary this year, and then was it $40 million next year or something crazy? But Sean Payton, I thought after last season he was dead in the water. I'm like, Broncos got finessed in this deal, like a 10-year, $120 million deal plus a first round pick. Like, they got screwed. But Sean Payton has definitely turned. He's inserted his culture, his brand into this team. Now, maybe 2 years down the road, not next season, but the year after that, maybe they can come in and start to compete, right? Like, legitimately for a Super Bowl. Derek says their Super Bowl wins were all on defense and running backs. And their defense is there. Running backs are suspect, right? Now, if you just watch the first quarter of last night's game versus the Chargers, you're like, whoa, okay, this Denver team can rush the ball. But you watch the whole season, the entirety of the season, don't look at stats, but actually watch it. Their running backs are not very good. Running backs are not very good. And Laura says, man, I wish Kay was here. She would love you talking about her Bengals. Listen, the Bengals are the real deal. If the Bengals just had a little bit of a defense, I'm talking just a smidgen of defense, right? Hire me as your defensive coordinator. Always do it all-out blitz, because we're not stopping anybody. Anyways, let's get pressure on Bo Nix. Let's just pressure him. You see, he starts to panic. He starts to dribble down his leg a little bit, and bada bing, bada boom, like let go, right? And John says Bo Nix played decent last night. He did play decent in the first quarter, John. Bo Nix put up fairly good stats, right? He put up good stats. But look beyond the stats. Watch the game, John. Sit there and legitimately watch the game. He was, 29 for 40, 263 yards for 2 touchdowns. But that was a lot of that in fourth quarter, like when he started padding those stats. Or it'd be a second quarter, I should say, not the fourth quarter, second quarter. I don't know. I don't think the Broncos are very good. But guys, fact or crap? Are the Denver Broncos the most false team in the AFC? I think it is fact. That's fact. Andrew says, hot take alert. He says running back stats are actually old line stats. Andrew, I would agree with you to an extent. Because sometimes a good running back makes a terrible offensive line look pretty decent. And there's also times that a running back makes a great offensive line look pretty bad, look pretty average, right? Let's take the Chicago Bears for an example. Weeks 4 through 8, they were a top 10 offensive line in the NFL because Caleb Williams was getting the ball out quick. DeAndre Swift was actually running the ball well, right? Making a lot of people miss, doing a little bit of this, doing a little bit of that, zigzagging right. Now, where are they ranked? 32nd. It's not that they're injured. It's not that they got a brand new running back in there. Not that they got a brand new quarterback in there. They're just not very good. I mean, I can see what you're trying to say, and to an extent, I agree with you. But sometimes running backs just will their way into making the offensive line better, right? How many he throw in 2-minute drill passes? I don't know who you're talking about, John. Don't know who you're talking about. But moving on. Garrett Wilson, my man from the New York Football Jets. Garrett Wilson has come out and said that he may want to be traded this offseason. He said this offseason we're going to have a real sit-down conversation and discuss my future with the New York Football Jets. And when you look at the New York Football Jets, guys, they have been nothing but a dumpster fire the last few seasons. Let's just be honest. And now their star receiver, Garrett Wilson, wants to be out? What? So, guys, that's the question. Fact or crap? Should the Jets let Garrett Wilson seek a trade and go for a rebuild? Do they need to trade him off and go for a rebuild? When you look at the New York Football Jets, guys, they finally got their first win in a very, very long time last week, improving the season on 4-10. 4 wins this season. Woof. Barn Burners, watch out, baby. Wilson, when you look at Garrett Wilson, he was a 10th overall pick back in 2022. So far this season, he has 933 yards receiving, which is 13th in the NFL, has 6 touchdowns. However, he does only have 84 catches so far this season, which is tied for 156 in the NFL. The Jets did trade for Devontae Adams back on October 15th. Many people thought this was going to be great for Garrett. Garrett, right? Get the double team off of him, spread the field, spread the love, bada bing, bada boom. Everything's gravy, baby. But before the trade, he had 4 double-digit targets, right? And since then, he's had 3 double-digit targets in a game. He played 6 games before Devontae Adams got there and 8 games since Devontae Adams has gotten there. So definitely not getting the target as much as he'd like. Back in 2023, he had 10 double-digit targets game in 5 his rookie season. Many people, many experts, I use that term very, very loosely, but many experts say that this year was the year that Garrett Wilson pops off. This is the year that Garrett Wilson becomes a top 5, top 10 receiver in the NFL. Now, on the other side of those mouths, those are the same people now that are saying that Aaron Rodgers is holding him back. So, guys, fact or crap, should the Jets trade Garrett Wilson and start a rebuild process? Guys, this is 100% crap. like legit. This is 100% crap. The only players that the New York Football Jets should be trading are the players that they should have traded before the trade deadline, and that's the players that are over the age of 32 or anyone linked to Aaron Rodgers. Now, if Aaron Rodgers is back next season, Wilson will probably not play. Let's just be honest. He will probably do some type of holdout. And then at that point, you should cut your losses and move on. However, you need to think long-term. You need to sit here and you need to think long-term, not the present, because you do not have a Super Bowl winning team. Think long-term. If you make Aaron Rodgers your quarterback in 2025, it will be a long-term failure for the New York Football Jets. They clearly do not have a winning team or a winning roster, coaching staff, or yet even a winning mindset in New York. Garrett Wilson is a player that wants to win, knows how to win. He has been with the Ohio State Buckeyes that knows how to win a lot of games, just not to Michigan. But you do not let a player like that go. What you need to do, if you are the New York Jets, anybody linked to Aaron Rodgers, anybody over I said 32, let's say 34, anybody over the age of 34, get them out of town. Get your draft picks, cut your losses, and rebuild then. Do not get rid of Garrett Wilson. But guys, fact or crap, should the Jets let Garrett Wilson go and continue and start a rebuild? I'm saying crap. What are you guys saying? Alpha Rob over here on youtube.com/Manor says fact. they can get something for him and rebuild. Like, he is third year. This is a third year. He'd be going on to his fourth year, Alpha Rob. And legitimately, looking at his stats, looking at his performance, you are not going to get a first-round draft pick out of him. That's just what it is. He was a 10th overall draft pick back in 2022. Based off his stats, based off his performance right now, you are not going to get a number 1 overall draft pick for him or a first-round draft pick for him, period. We saw the wide receiver market this trade deadline, right? Amari Cooper, a 4th round. DeAndre Hopkins, a 5th round, right? 4th, that could go up to a fourth round. Deontay Johnson, which is now cut, 6th round. Like the receiver market is just not as high as it used to be. So, like, what do you expect to get from him? Like, that's the real question. Derek says, if Aaron Rodgers wants to coach quarterbacks, why stay for a guy that doesn't throw your way? Exactly. That is why I said the New York Jets need to cut all ties with Aaron Rodgers and anybody associated with Aaron Rodgers, meaning Devontae Adams, meaning Randall Cobb, meaning, of course, MVS is now in like in the Saints, but anybody that Aaron Rodgers wish list back last year in 2022, 2023, get him out. Get him out. And John says, along with the other half of the Jets. Andrew's Paradise says, crap. I agree with you, buddy. Crap. Spooner Man over here with the little make-believe Spider-Man says the Bengals are making the playoffs. Would not shock me, Spooner Man. Would not spock me. Panthers are making the playoffs. No, they're not. Get out of here. But John says, fact. They need to trade Garrett Wilson. What do you guys expect to get out of Garrett Wilson? Like, legitimately, what do you expect to get out of him? Yes, he had 1,000 plus receiving yards last season. This year, he should be able to break 1,000 yards. He needs 70 yards in two games, or 3 games actually. But like, what do you expect to get out of him? I just don't see it. Spoonerman said Jets are making the playoffs. Maybe in 2028 they could potentially do that. Andrew's Paradise says I'm just speaking facts. John says all have more than 8 years in a second rounder. All more than 8 years second rounder. You're not getting a second round pick for Garrett Wilson. 3rd round maybe. Derek says Adams is a coach killer and a general manager killer. Is he though? I don't think Devontae Adams is that type of person. Aaron Rodgers, however, not too wrong. Derek says, and expect the quarterback to be gone this season. Aaron Rodgers should be gone. He's terrible. Aaron Rodgers should be 100% gone. I don't remember who it was last week or 2 weeks ago. They were saying, hey, Aaron Rodgers is top 10 in every offensive stat category. Use your eyes, buddy. Use your eyes. Aaron Rodgers is just not that good. I mean, he could have been, he could have gone down the greatest as of like all time, right? But he just hanging on a little too long. Andrew Paradise says, as a Packers fan, I will always have a place in my green and gold heart for Aaron Rodgers. But man, I'm glad we moved on when we did. And honestly, Andrew, I don't know if it's the Achilles is just not like he pushed it a little too hard to try to get back last season. Maybe it was healed and you can play on it and you can function, but maybe it didn't get enough flexibility in it. Maybe it didn't get enough give. Just something's not quite right with Aaron Rodgers. And it might be the age, but I feel everything's pointing toward the Achilles, honestly. It's just like, why did you try to rush so back to get back to prove the haters wrong or whatever, right? But maybe you hurt yourself long term. I don't know. Spooner Man says the Jets won't do any better without Rodgers, but they have. With this same roster, just last season, they were 7-10. The year before that, with pretty much the same roster, they were 7-10. With Aaron Rodgers this year, they're 4-10. Now, they could potentially somehow go 7-10 again. I would love it if they went 7-10 again, knocking the Buffalo Bills off their mighty pedestal. I would love this move, Spooner, man. But I just don't see it happening, baby. I just don't see it happening. You need to slow it down. Slow it down, baby. Derek says, Jets fans stand tall on their team. I want to see them compete. I mean, honestly, the Jets probably do have one of the most loyal fan bases out there, right? I would say the Chiefs, the Jets, the Raiders, the Lions, Packers, Bears probably had the most loyal fan base, right? And I agree with you on that. Also, the Cleveland Browns. Speaking of Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett said he wants to continue to play with the Cleveland Browns next year until he retires, but also in the same breath, in the same sentence, he says he does not want to be a part of the rebuild. Now, the Cleveland Browns do have some good parts in place and can compete next season. They have done it before, right? But guys, fact or crap, should the Cleveland Browns trade Myles Garrett and start a rebuild process? Should they get out there and start to do a rebuild process? When you look at the Cleveland Browns, guys, they are in cap hell. Let's just be flat honest. They are in cap hell over the next few seasons with Deshaun Watson's contract. If Deshaun Watson doesn't play or he gets cut or released by the Cleveland Browns, it's a $200 million dead cap hit next year. The salary cap is $260 million. I just want to put that out there. Next season after that, it's like 150, and the year after that, it's like a 90 or 47 million or something. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And so far, let's just be honest, they have already started trading off some of their old heads with big contracts, i.e. Amari Cooper, Jadarius Smith. They're trying to get ahead of the storm. They're trying to get some draft picks to build for the future, right? But when you look at the Cleveland Browns, on the other hand, even though they are in cap hell, even though Deshaun Watson has yet to play a complete season or more than 10 games, right? Last season, they were in the playoffs. They were in the playoffs last season. Yes, they lost to the Houston Texans in the first round, but they were in the playoffs. I still think the Cleveland Browns do have a team that they can compete. Will they win a Super Bowl? Probably not, but compete, yes. So with the Watson contract that you have, you have to win right now. When the Cleveland Browns signed Deshaun Watson, they were in a must-now situation, right? Must-now situation. But guys, fact or crap, should the Browns trade Myles Garrett and start a rebuild process? Guys, this is 100% fact. Myles Garrett is a great talent. You can get 2 or 3 top picks for Myles Garrett right now. You can probably get a first and 2 seconds or 2 first-round picks. You can get some pretty good picks for Myles Garrett right now. Every goal for a team in the NFL is to win a Super Bowl, just not to make the playoffs. If your goal is to make the playoffs, you are set up for failure from the start. And if you want to build a Super Bowl team in Cleveland, it has to start now. It has to start by trading Myles Garrett. It has to start by this rebuild process now. Get through this Deshaun Watson dark days. Get through that and build for the future. In 4 years, have that Super Bowl caliber team. But guys, fact or crap, should the Browns trade Myles Garrett? Andrew's Paradise is saying fact. I agree with you on that, Andrew's Paradise. I agree with you. Alpha Rob says fact. They should trade Myles Garrett. Hell, I honestly thought they were going to do it this season to the Detroit Lions. For something in my gut, I thought the Detroit Lions were going to go after Myles Garrett and actually give them the 2 first-round draft picks. We're like, we'll handle for Jadarius Smith, which is still a good pickup. Like, don't get it twisted. But I thought they were going to pull the trigger on Myles Garrett. That would have been dangerous. That would have been scary, right? And John says, crap. Myles Garrett isn't going nowhere. I don't care if he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild or not. He's not going nowhere. So, John, is that your way of telling me that the Cleveland Browns are not in a rebuild process? That they can win right now? Because I think they can compete, right? You find yourself a quarterback Whether it's Deshaun Watson, I don't think it's DTR. I don't think it's Jameis. Maybe you go out there and you, for one, get a new coach, right? I don't like their coach that they have. James, that is usually here on Man Hour, doesn't like their coach at all either, right? James, Frank. Get a new coach, and then get yourself a quarterback that can compete, right? And whether that quarterback is Deshaun coming after that shoulder injury, whether it's a quarterback like Trey Lance or Cooper Rush, people that are out there that could be viable stop-gap fill guys. What do you think, man? Spooner Man says that the Browns get George Pickens, they go 17-0. I don't think receiving is their issue. It's their quarterback play. Is the quarterback play is the issue. Derek says that guy is Cleveland. He is, right? But sometimes business is business, Derek. Sometimes just because I love my iPhone 14 here, right? Even though the screen's cracked up there and I still get all my alerts and text messages and all the people talking shit over here on Facebook.com/man hour. I see it all. But at the end of the day, if I can upgrade to an iPhone 16 and you're giving me money for my iPhone 14, why not? Why not? Business is business. Me and this iPhone 14, we've gone through a lot. We've gone through a marriage. We've gone through two kids. We've gone from our Facebook page, going from 100 followers to 25,000. Like, we've gone through a lot. But at the end of the day, upgrade, baby. Right? John says, but I would trade Tyree for him. Tyreek Hill for Myles Garrett. That'd be kind of weird. Andrew's Parasite says, unless the Browns stumble into a quarterback, they need to rip the Band-Aid off and trade Myles Garrett. I don't know what the Browns draft picks are looking like this season. I've not dug that far into it, but I feel like they still owe the Texans another first-round draft pick for Deshaun Watson, if not a second-round draft pick. Quarterback class this year is not very good or very deep at all. So you're going to have to be looking at some type of free agent, right? Whether it's Taysom Bagent. Might be a nice little pickup. Maybe it's Gardner Minshew. I don't think Gardner Minshew is a starter, but he could be a good gap fill guy. Maybe it's Trey Lance. Maybe it's Jimmy G. We forget that Jimmy G is still in the NFL, uses steroids and everything. Maybe it's Jimmy G. Hell, maybe it's Matthew Stafford. He's a free agent next season. I'm just saying. And John says they have no defense without him, but they do. Their defense is still pretty good, right? They still got Newsome the second. He is pretty good. They picked up the guy from the Kansas City Chiefs. His name's slipping my mind right now. Thornhill, right? They got Juan Thornhill still. They got James Houston still. They still got a pretty good defense. Devin Bush. Yes, Myles Garrett is the best pass rusher in the NFL. Yes, Myles Garrett is one of the top defensive players in the NFL, but sometimes you got to take a step back to take steps forward. It is what it is. Another super chat from Andrew says, are the Texans good? I can't figure them out. Andrew, I don't think the Texans are very good. C.J. Stroud has not thrown a second half touchdown since week 6. Wrap your head around that. He has not thrown a second half touchdown since week 6 of this NFL season. And they are so up and down, right? They remind me of the Minnesota Vikings. They play up to their competition, but they also play down to their competition. Let's flashback to the Detroit game. What, it was 28-3 going into halftime or something crazy just like that? Or no, it was like they had a attempt. It was 23-10, right? And they just forgot, like, oh, we have to play a second half still. That's kind of weird. This is what I think about the Houston Texans. I think the Houston Texans overachieved so much last season that they fail to understand what their flaws are. Their flaws are that their offensive line is terrible. They're just CJ Stroud's getting sacked and sacked and sacked again. What's the New York Jets? He got sacked like 8 times. Like, it was just, their offensive line is terrible. Stephon Diggs was masking that, right? Because when you have a talent like Stephon Diggs out there, he was not putting up the numbers. He was not putting up crazy stats, right? But he was not allowing defenses to put 8 guys in the box. He was not allowing you to double team Tank Dell or the other receiver slipping mind right now. But Stephon Diggs was that X factor that kind of masked a lot of bad things that have happened with the Houston Texans. And since he has gone down, that masking has been gone, right? That masking now is CJ Stroud kind of folds under pressure, and that's what teams are doing, is they're pressuring the Houston Texans. Nico Collins is being double teamed, and he was out for 3 or 4 weeks with that hamstring thing, right? And their defense, right? They are healthy, but they're not very good. I love Will Anderson. I love Danielle Hunter. I like the Tutu guy, right? They have good names out there, but for some reason they're just not meshing well. And when I talked about them 2 days ago, previewing the Kansas City Chiefs game, my goal for them was to see or find a complete game. Let them play a complete game, because they have not played a complete game since they played the Dallas Cowboys back on Monday Night Football, 5-6 weeks ago? And that was when the Dallas Cowboys were freaking terrible. Since then, the Cowboys have turned it around a little bit. But I'm just saying, they're not very good. But, man, definitely thank you for the super chat. Definitely much appreciated. But speaking of much appreciated, the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders, guys. Aiden O'Connell has come out and said, hey, I'm good to go, coach. Put me in, coach. Aiden O'Connell says he has been good to go, and he is assumed to be starting versus the Jacksonville Jaguars this weekend. As you guys know, Aiden O'Connell was named week 1 starter, was been benched, got back in there, then got injured, and now he wants back in there to reclaim his starting spot. But guys, factor crap, should the Las Vegas Raiders keep Aiden O'Connell on the bench and see what they have in Desmond Ridder? So, guys, factor crap. Should the Raiders keep Aiden O'Connell on the bench and see what they have in Desmond Ridder? With that being said, Aiden O'Connell so far this season has a 63% completion percentage, 899 yards passing, 4 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Flashback to his rookie year, 62% completion percentage, 2,200 yards passing, 12 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Now, I think Aiden O'Connell is a good stop-fill quarterback or a backup quarterback. I just don't see him as a franchise quarterback, right? I don't see him as a starter moving forward. I just don't see it. I said this last summer. If Aiden O'Connell is your starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders, you're going to have problems, and they're now 2-10 on the season, right? With that being said, in Desmond Ridder's first start of the season last weekend versus the Atlanta Falcons, he had a 60% completion percentage for 208 yards, 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions. He was also sacked 3 times in that game. The last interception was the Hail Mary in the end zone, so can we really count it? It is what it is, right? So far this season, he has played in 3 other games this season for the Raiders, but it was all late game plug in time because Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell just were not doing very, very good. Now, when Desmond Ridder played for the Atlanta Falcons last season in 2023, his rookie season, it was his sophomore season, he had 64% completion percentage for 2,800 yards, 12 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. His rookie season, he was a 64% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns to 0 interceptions in 4 games. He was a 3rd-round pick by the Atlanta Falcons back in 2022. So when you look at Aiden O'Connell or Desmond Ridder, guys, should the Raiders keep Aiden O'Connell on the bench and see if they have anything in Desmond Ridder? I think it is a fact. You need to see if you have anything in Desmond Ridder. You picked him up off of the street. He's a former 3rd overall draft pick. This is only his 3rd year in the league. He was traded this offseason to the Arizona Cardinals when the Atlanta Falcons picked up Kirk Cousins. New coach wanted his guy, whatever. I think it was dumb, but I digress. They also drafted Michael Penix Jr. that year as well. Desmond Ridder was cut by the Arizona Cardinals before the season even started, so he's kind of rusty. So guys, I think it is fact. You need to see if you have anything in Desmond. Can you sign him for cheap? Can he be a stopgap fill guy for when you do draft Shadir Sanders, which would be a mistake in this year's draft? Guys, this is a fact. Aiden O'Connell is not it. We've seen it. 2 years now, we've seen it. Desmond Ridder, I thought he did pretty good last season. I thought things were starting to click. Things were starting to slow down a little bit. I just think you need to see what he is, right? But I think it is fact here. Josh said, who's a better quarterback, Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell? The answer to that question is Aiden O'Connell. Gardner Minshew is well over the hill. Gardner Minshew is a great backup quarterback. Gardner Minshew is Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? He is great for 3 games. If you ask him to play 4, he sucks. Ask him to play 5, he sucks. Aiden O'Connell at least is consistent, I guess, right? When I saw him at Notre Dame here a couple years ago, I actually got to see him in person. Very likable guy. He does drive a white van. I just want to put that out there. But he seems like Aiden O'Connell seems like the quarterback that has a very high floor, but a very, very low ceiling. So you pretty much know what you're going to get from him. Nice average play, not too high, not too low, whatever, right? But with Desmond Ridder, you don't really know, right? Gardner Minshew, really low floor, semi-high ceiling. So if you're comparing Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, you have to weigh out the pros and cons. The pros for Gardner, he could have a great game. The pros for, or like the cons for Aiden is like his great game is still only 200 yards, a touchdown, and like an interception, right? Now, the cons, Gardner Minshew's bad game, he could throw 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 interceptions in a game. Aiden O'Connell, his bad game is going to be one interception, 160 yards, right? It's double-edged sword, right? Derek says AOC is the better of the two. No hate on the Vikings. I'm not hating the Vikings today. Derek says, fact, Ridder should have been given a chance to earn a second spot on another team due to the draft. Aiden O'Connell's a great second team. So, Derek, if I remember correctly, Desmond Ridder was traded for Rondell Moore, both Louisville guys, which is crazy. Louisville area guys. He got cut by the Cardinals, and then he was picked up by the Seattle Seahawks in the practice squad, if I remember correctly, but he was cut from them as well. So he has had opportunities. He just hasn't had a chance to shine yet, right? Andrew's Paradise says, fact, but it's only see who your stopgap is going to be, not for your quarterback of the future. Exactly. So obviously, I think everybody is saying that the Raiders, or all the experts like Hodge and Mel Kiper and Mike Miller and like all those guys, they are saying that the Raiders are going to draft a quarterback. Many of them are pointing towards Shadir Sanders, which is a mistake, but whatever, right? They are going to draft a quarterback. All of these quarterbacks going in this year's draft are project quarterbacks. You are going to need to sit them behind a veteran or somebody that has been there so the game slows down for him, etc. I think Desmond Ridder would be that perfect guy, much like Sam Darnold is for JJ, right? Derek said, Minshew benefit from college trade. He was the third behind Hurts, Wentz, and had the most passing yards. Yes. Minshew is a white Jameis Winston. Is this crab stealing Jameson or the found Jesus Jameis? Like, that's the real question. Because crab stealing Jameis is a dog. I like the 50 touchdowns or the 30 touchdowns and 50 interceptions. Like, whatever, man. No risk it, no biscuit, right? But now Winston's just bad. Winston is just bad, guys. But, guys, that is going to be it for today's show. My voice is shot. It is Friday. It is Friday night. We'll be back tomorrow with the Toxic Crew. We got Mark and Hoffy on the Toxic Roundtable, guys. We'll be breaking down Week 16. Of course, we'll already have the Chiefs and Texans playing, and then the Ravens and Steelers will be playing both in the afternoon on NBC and Fox, those respective games. So we'll be back tomorrow, guys. Hopefully my voice is better, but we have Mark and Hoffy here. Hopefully we figured out the technical issues from last time. But until then, guys, live, raw, uncut NFL talk every Monday through Saturday, 9 p.m. East Coast time, right here at manhourradio.com, youtube.com/manhour, and of course, facebook.com/manhour. Until then, guys, we out.